Hello, good afternoon. I'm Martin from Eurogamer. Welcome to the very first day of EGX. Hello to everybody who's joined us here in the auditorium. Also, hello to everybody who's skiving off work and watching via Twitch. If you are watching via Twitch, we'll be taking some of your questions and giving them to David at the end of the session, so do let us know if there's anything you want to ask. Without further ado, I shall get on stage the man you're all here to come and see, David Braben, who's going to take you through Elite Dangerous. So please, a round of applause for David Braben.
Thank you very much indeed, everybody. Thank you for coming, and it's an honor that you've all come here. So today, without much ado, I'll introduce my beautiful assistant, Eddie, who's demoing Elite Dangerous live. We're taking a huge risk. This is playing Beta 2, so fingers crossed, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, can we have it on the big screen? Wonderful. Right, so this is the, some of you will have seen, who here has played the beta already? So about half. But anyway, so this is a new version. I'm very pleased with how much further along it's come. As you can see, this is in an ice asteroid field. So we now have different kinds of asteroids depending on the makeup of the ring, which is great. So a metallic one is very good for mining, for example, and they're different around different systems. So we're after this Cobra here. Now, just talking a little bit about the background between the different means of play of the game. Exploration gameplay, and so the ice ring, some of you will go, you see, oh, that's something different. I love the idea of heading out into the unknown in Elite, and going and seeing things I haven't seen before. And we've been thinking, how do we make that really exciting from a game point of view? And it's always sort of proving that you were the first to visit somewhere is always very attractive to me. So that is essentially the way the gameplay works. You head out into the unknown, and the wonderful thing about our galaxy is so big. There will, for a very long time, remain an awful lot out there to explore. We've said there are 400 billion systems, but the point is that systems, each one of those has maybe 100 bodies in it to explore. So even if a system has been visited by someone, it's not explored. You'll go around it, you'll see what's in there. You know, and maybe one of those will get your name on it. But the great thing is, once you've seen that, you've got to take that information back. And that's also a key part of the gameplay, because if you see someone scanning the system that you're in and heading back, you can either consider it a race, or you can try and take them out. So the great thing with this is how this gameplay works. I mean, it's, if you like, partly an experiment. What I would really like to see is those two people cooperate. That would be really brilliant. So the other thing, obviously, we've got mining. We've also got finding artifacts and things like that. Do you want to go on to the next one, Eddie? And it's that whole richness of it. The other thing, of course, with combat is the whole idea of piracy. One of the things that often asked with a question with this is how this is going to work in a game where you've got a load of players out there, and from the experience as a player, if we had player versus player combat all the time, you get as many people getting unhappy about being griefed, as they may see it, as winning the battles. We're already seeing that in the beta now, and I don't think the balance is quite right, but it's getting better, where what I'd like to see is more and more people working together with each other, and the occasional notorious pirate who is a player, where people get together to essentially take them out. But the great thing is, you can still be a pirate because most of the ships you meet are AIs. It will be an unusual event for players to come against players, I would hope. Currently, it's less so, but we're trying to get that balance right. And so, with all of this, and it's been fantastic in the beta, and if people bear with us, we're tuning that a little bit each time. And obviously, discussions through our forums have been very helpful, particularly through the DDF. So here we have another mission we've got a beam laser on the right, and we've also got a missile rack. So looking at different weapons. A lot of you will already have seen this, but you'll see how some of the things have changed. And also, if you come and look on our stand, you'll see you know, just how rich the game looks now in things like 4K. But the other thing we've got moving forward is all of the new things for Beta 2. So, talking a little bit about things that are to come in Beta 2. Oops. Actually, just for those who aren't in the beta, just looking at some of the things that Eddie is doing now in combat, these gauges here are showing what Eddie's done is put all his power into his weapons. You can put power to the engines, to the shields, or whatever, as accordingly needed. I know a lot of you people know that already, but all of those things. And the other key thing in combat is the stealth mechanic. So there was a wonderful video that one of our backers uploaded, brilliant video showing smuggling, where the guy managed to scoop up some canisters outside the station, take them elsewhere, and sell them, right under the nose of the cops. But he did it by keeping the ship really cold and flying with flight assist off. If you look for the video, Eddie, do you remember the name of the video? Do you remember the name of the... Maybe not. Anyway, I'm sure you'll find it on YouTube. Sorry about that. But what's really good with that is just these sort of this emergent type of behavior. We've also seen a lot of vigilantism around, where people are going around getting people with essentially bounty hunting, but also just policing areas. So, I'm going to try taking it out with some missiles. Now, the night sky you see here is something that I know it seems... Some people have said, well, why have you bothered doing all this richness? I've mentioned for the exploring, all of those things that are out there, but every one of those dots is a real star in our night sky. So if you go out at night, every single dot in the sky is a real star that's in the game. Now, there are a lot of things that I've learned from this that I find you might think is pointless for a game, but because it makes it all feel so real, if you see what I mean, that everything out there is real and matches the night that feed into the game. I love the idea that as you move towards Imperial space, which we haven't got yet, but will come in the near future, we move further and further out of the galactic plane. So you get an ever more beautiful view of the galaxy, where the galaxy gets brighter and brighter because it's no longer occluded by the dust. And it's all these little things I think are very exciting. But from the point of view of having a game where you can do whatever you like, where you can, where you have that freedom, you know, going back to the original Elite, which is 30 years old this week, the reason that I wanted to do that game was I wanted the freedom. Games had got into a rut then, and they've got into a rut now, and that's another rut that would be great to sort of break out of, where playing a game like Call of Duty or whatever, Battlefield, you know, that I've got bored with those, whereas I think the scope of what you can do in a game like this is very exciting, even when we start looking post-release as well, where you can get out of your spaceship, go around planets. Each one of those are essentially whole new game genres that we can bring together into the same fold. So, this here is a Lakon Type 9, and I'm sure many of you have already seen them in game. But we've got a wide range of stuff. That's a ship you can buy and fly. Shall we, I'm trying to think, move to the video now for... So what I want to show now is just a little video clip of some of the new things that are in, here we go, that are in Beta 2. So here we have an Ocellus station. Now, interestingly, it's called that because Ocellus is Latin for eye, but actually the logical thing to have called it would have been Oculus, and for obvious reasons we didn't want to use that. But the idea is this is a very sturdily built station, which is a spherical, which makes it very, very strong. And it's the sort of station that could be moved. So, because what we've found, when we're just looking at how the story plays out in the game, and as the galaxy evolves, if one of you guys heads out into the unknown and discovers a lot of gold in a particular system, there will be a gold rush, and more players will go there. And what we want to do is to be able to bring, that was a nice noise, bring a station there. You know, it's that fantastic feeling of evolution. Here we see an outpost. So we've also talked, outposts are really small stations that can be assembled. And these are things that, so this is a research base. They can be very, very small, or they can be all different sizes. There's no sort of gravity throughout them. And the idea is, you know, they can be very run-down ones, which is just a landing pad and basically a transport CAF, or it can be quite a sprawling structure that's grown over time. Each of these are made up out of components that are glued together. And so, because what we're doing is we're looking at how the galaxy evolves, and this is one of the key tools to do it. And the really big stations would take a long time to build, stations like the Orbis, which are truly gigantic. And so this gives us a really nice sort of route, if you like, so that when something's discovered, we end up with an Acela station arriving with big engines attached to it. We see the gold rush build up, potentially fizzle, or we see the system starting to be settled. We then see outposts appearing around the system, and then we see them starting to assemble a much bigger station, something like a Coriolis or an Orbis. And so what we're starting to see in Beta 2, one of the things that I've said all along is that with this game, we've all gone through phases here. And if you like, we've been building a house. We built the foundations, all of that thing through alpha. And then with beta, we had a playable game, but it was a bit like an empty house. What we're now doing is putting more and more things for you to discover and find, missions and all that sort of thing, rich things you can do. Now, I don't know if you've been following the news with Erenin, but it's moving towards civil war there, and it's interesting to see people playing and reacting to that and taking sides in that war. You know, whether it's smuggling guns to the rebels or whether it's supporting the existing communist government there. And so hopefully you'll see that that's just sort of the tip of the iceberg, because one of the things that comes with Beta 2 is news feeds, where in the game you actually see the game building as you watch. You see news coming in, and you may even feature in those news feeds with your character. So overall, it's been an amazing opportunity here. As we've gone from the Kickstarter, we built the game, through to now. Being a publisher at a show like this feels like a wonderful change and a wonderful journey from that original sort of bedroom coder world where I started with Ian Bell all those years ago. And I actually would really like to thank all of you people and all the people who are out there watching this on Twitch for that opportunity. It has been really good. And I think it marks a major change in the industry. You know, looking here at EGX with our stand alongside Microsoft, alongside Activision's with Destiny. And I'm very, very proud of what we're showing here as well. So if you haven't had a chance yet, do go down to our stand. It's good fun. Okay, so shall we go to questions?
Hello, yeah, we do have time for some questions. We are going to have microphones in the middle of the aisles. You see there's a wonderfully placed X just there, and one on the other aisle just there. So if you do have a question you'd like to ask, make your way to one of those X's. Don't be afraid to get your elbows out when you make your way there, but try not to draw blood. Yeah, and anybody has any questions, please step up. We have one just here.
Right. Hello. Right. My question takes back to the your start of your talk when you were talking about the exploration and getting the data back.
Yes.
As part of a group that is going to go out exploring, and we are going to be using collaborative play, can we game the division between the Empire and the Federation and maybe the Independents to sell that data multiply?
Absolutely. So you can do. You could sell the same data certainly twice, possibly 3 times. The Alliance is a lot smaller than the Federation or the Empire. And the Federation Empire will pay you a lot for that information, especially if it's a valuable planet like an Earth-like world. But imagine you sell them to the same at the same time, and they both send a research team out. They're going to discover each other, and they will come and get you. You will end up with an assassination mission on your head. Now, you may want that, and we're wondering about the ways that we can game that mission. You may choose not to sell the data at the same time. So they're much less likely to find out it was you that is the culprit here. Do you see what I mean?
No, I was actually wondering about, because we're collaborating, one of us can sell to one side and a friend can sell to the other without us taking each other out.
That would be very clever. But of course, I mean, that would work, yes. Of course, you would have to make sure you agree to do it the right way round and all that sort of thing, and the other guy didn't then sell to the Federation, if you go into the Federation, because that... But yes, it's those sort of things that I love, and I love events in the game where they trigger another, and you have a daisy chain. So I think it's the sort of thing that we want to encourage, in the same way we want to encourage people trying to break the stock markets and all that sort of thing. It's like the blockade that happened last week. It was brilliant, blockade of Freeport.
Yes. Thank you.
Before we move on to a question over there, I will just go to Twitch briefly. We've got a question. Well, we have something which isn't really a question. It's someone saying, Real Nimrod says, are they really bleeping stars between the ship and space? But I think he's just quite excited about what he's just seen. We do have a proper question, though, and that is from Drillette, who asks, how many classes of ship are currently in the game, and how many are you planning to have in the final release? I'm trying to think what you mean. So that in the game in Beta 1, there's in the game Beta 2, i.e., we're about 8 at the moment, aren't we? I could try counting them. There's the Sidewinder, Cobra, Viper, Eagle, Lacon Type 6, 7, 9... That's 7. Have I forgotten any? Anaconda, oh yes. Can't miss that. Hauler. So we're already up to 9. We've got the Asp coming, which is 10. So it's, I think we're currently at 10, and there are more to come imminently. In the Kickstarter, we originally said 25. So we're working our way towards that. Okay, thank you very much. And over there, the question. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, David.
Hi.
I've sort of played these sort of games as an explorer as well, and I'm just thinking about when you're out miles away from anywhere and wear and tear on your ship, how is that going to be handled in regards to when you're so far away from kind of the civilized part of the universe and you're exploring and your ship goes beyond the point of no return?
Right, so you will be able to scoop hydrogen from gas giants and from cool stars. You can also carry units which will be repair kits, which is like a cargo thing that you plug in. It's a consumable, which will mend, it will essentially service it for you. Or you could communicate with one of your friends and say, I'm here, please help me. I'm completely helpless. And hopefully they'll come and help you.
Do the ships have a finite lifespan, though?
No, but the components do. I mean, it's not. It's just that they have the capacity to break. So I imagine you take a big. If you were to go out exploring, you take a big ship, and you would pack it full of repair kits and things like that, or you would go with friends. Excuse me, sorry.
Bless you.
I've got a bit of a cold.
We do have another question over here as well.
Thank you. Yep.
Hi, David.
Hi.
You were describing the evolution of these systems as we sort of go through the gold rush phase, etc.
Yeah.
How long in sort of real lifetime do you expect that kind of process to take, you know, between kind of discovery and having a full-fledged station there?
I think it depends on what it is, but I think weeks and months, not hours. You know, so if someone here, I mean, the real-life 1849 gold rush, it was between 2 and 3 weeks between they first got their first find and the guy getting drunk in a bar, which was sort of really the start of the gold rush. And I would hope what players will do is when they discover this, they will try and keep it secret. Because as soon as the masses descend, it will then start getting mined out. So I think it's really interesting. I don't really know. I think what we want it to do is because essentially it will be us sending a space station. We would only do that once there are a lot of players going there. And there's business to be made, if you like, selling them parts to their ships and things like that. And that's what these Acellus ones are for. Now, then over time, you would see it. I don't know if you know the Dire Straits Telegraph Road. I just love the idea of that gradual evolution, and then comes the law, then come, and it's that sort of thing that I expect to happen. And what I imagine will happen is slowly the frontier will move further out. But that's nothing to be worried about. And what we've said is the reason that's happening is because of these new drives that we brought in with Elite Dangerous. People can travel more rapidly, so that would happen. And they'd get this huge period of expansion. But what I'm hoping is there'll be lots of places for things like exploration, even within human space, there'll be outer planets that people won't even have bothered looking for. So people will find things. So it's that sort of richness I want to be able to happen. And then, of course, there are other types of events like famine and catastrophe that can also happen within the core systems.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
And again, just before we move on to another question, I'm going to act as a voice of the internet and be Twitch again. Someone asks, will there be a corporation, guild, or clan system within Elite Dangerous?
Right, there is the sort of Friends Alliance, but at least to start with, we've not got guilds and clans. I think what we don't want is the whole game to become ossified very quickly, where you have to join one or the other to have any fun gameplay. I do like this. Essentially, it's the game of the freedom of the individual, the ability to just go out and do your own thing. That guilds can very easily become almost like mafiosi saying, don't travel here or we'll kill you. So I think it's something that we will look at and are looking at. But friends groups, which are very much more constrained, I think are great. But then when it gets much beyond that, it becomes doesn't feel right.
Thank you very much. And over there, another question, please.
Hi, David. Obviously, it was said that when the main game is released, you can actually, I think you can explore the entire galaxy. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is there any plans to bring other galaxies to the game, and can you actually get to the center of our galaxy, and what might be there?
Right, okay, so when I say you can visit the whole galaxy, we do nearly mean that. We will rope off little areas for future expansion and for things that we want to do. I think the galaxy is so mind-bogglingly huge. There is not a lot of benefit in visiting other galaxies. It's certainly possible, but I don't really see the point. Even things like the large and small Magellanic Clouds, which is a logical next step, which are actually in the game, I don't see really what it adds because our galaxy is so huge. Your next question is, can you go to the core? So at the moment, in theory you can go there on the map. In practice, there are way fewer planets, it's very, very hot, and I fail to see the point of it again, but I think because people want to, we'll look at that. Currently, it's not very practical to do that. It's such a long way away as well. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm going to share the love in the room and go to this side. Thank you.
One of the things that has spoiled massive online games in the past are people's ability to amass gold, amass a character, a big ship, and then sell that physically for real money online. And then you see people spamming news channels saying, you can buy gold at this price. How's the game mitigating against that sort of thing?
Well, the whole gold farming is always an issue for all games. That in terms of good solutions, we have various solutions for it, but none of them are completely clean. That's the trouble, and you are right to raise it as a problem. I'm personally quite against the whole pay-to-win thing, and because that's the other side of this coin, and I don't like it. So mainly because it spoils the game for other people. So we're trying to look at that. I think for items like ship coloring and things like that's fine. But so we don't really have a good solution, being completely open about it. But other than we want to do our best to just discourage it.
And briefly, will I be able to buy a shop on a space station so I can get a rolling income while I'm out exploring?
Well, that is something we have thought about, including buying whole space stations as well. Because obviously, if you're setting out in the unknown, you might be the person who arrives with that seller station. It's not in the standard game, because there's so much infrastructure that needs to make that happen and make it work well. What I said at the start is all of the things that we do, I want us to do well or not do them yet. And so I think that's something that I want to come with time. It's on a long wish list of things to do, but it's not top of it. But it's something that I do like the idea of that. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. We've got about another 5 minutes. Hopefully we're going to be able to get through all your questions, and we'll just move over here for the next one. Thank you.
Hi, David.
Hi.
You've already mentioned about the fact that you are bringing in SLI and the ability to play this game on 4K monitors. 4K monitors are a little bit out of my wallet at the moment. What about things like the Oculus Rift? We know you're already running it, but what about the other technologies that are out there from the likes of Sony, Samsung? What about the development path of those particular peripherals?
Right, so the wonderful thing is we're in a time where hardware is just is extremely exciting. Right from the start of Elite Dangerous, we did like the idea of head-mounted displays and all that sort of thing. And Oculus came along at much the right time, and we added support for it back in December last year. But we are looking at head-mounted displays in general, and as they come along, we will support them as soon as practical, if you know what I mean. Because I think they're great fun. I think none of the technologies have properly arrived yet. The Oculus DK2 is really good and is a lot better. 4K is superb on playing on a screen. And I know it is expensive, but actually the game is gradually getting faster anyway as we optimize it. And also SLI, as you say, makes a huge difference. And we're showing that today. If you want to play the game in 4K today, it's on our stand. We've got a few setups, and also Oculus. But we will embrace it. And the other point is if the computer today doesn't play 4K within a budget, next year the budget's going to be half. The year after, or thereabouts, half again. It will come. And we had this with Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. We were criticized for supporting pixel shaders and all sorts of things that we supported back in 2004. And that was because you needed what was then a workstation to be able to do some of the reflective water and things like that. But it hit #1 last year in the budget charts. And that's because modern laptops are workstations of 2004. So it will come. And if we are the point is we're future-proofing all our models so that the game can support it, as and when when head-mounted displays become 4K, which I think will happen, you'll be able to do it. But then you'll be going, oh my God, look at the price of 4K head-mounted displays. Look at the PC I need. And you're right, they're too expensive. But the year after, they might not be. And we're crossing thresholds as we go. And if you just look at the price of the machines that we're now playing on from a year ago, they're already way cheaper. And so I think Moore's Law is on our side. And even if it's not right today, it might be right next year or the year after. So yes, we will support it. And we will also look at other platforms as well after we've released the PC. But what I want us to do is to make sure we do a really, really good PC game. Then we'll do Mac, like we said we've done, and go from there. But our tech is also being shown here on the Microsoft stand in Screamride, and also Zoo Tycoon from last year. So the point is, we've got very, very versatile tech as well, which takes really good advantage of the hardware. So there are other routes to this sort of thing as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And over here, please, for your question.
A very brief, cheeky question, if I may. Obviously, Beta 2 is looking lovely. Beta 1 was fantastic. So on behalf of the beta backers at the moment, when will we see Beta 2, please, David?
Sorry, I didn't catch them.
When will we see Beta 2, please?
Beta 2 is coming out on Tuesday.
Fantastic, thank you.
Oh, nice, brief, cheeky answer as well for you. And yeah, over here, please.
Hey, all right, David. Quick question. Again, just for the exploration side of the universe, quite a few of us like to just go out there and find out what we can. Again, perhaps tied into the real world, quite a few people have these packs which have been bought of name a star after yourself.
Yeah.
Is the game going to liaise with this database so you could actually go and visit a star which someone has bought and has named?
You already can.
Interesting.
It's already in the game, the ones that people have named. They're not inside the bubble that we're starting off with, but we're continually increasing the size of the bubble. For Beta 2, the sphere has become a lozenge and containing, I don't know, over 500 systems. And I'm not certain, I haven't checked actually, but I think there may well be a few of the named ones in there already.
Excellent. And again, just from the community, thanks to all of you guys developing the game and all the hard work you put in. There's just such a buzz on the internet, Twitch, Oculus. Thank you very much for your
Well, I would thank the team here who I'm sure will watch or are watching on Twitch for all their effort. It is amazing. People working late last night, getting the build for here. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we should be able to get through your two questions. I don't want to. You stood up for that long, so I don't want you to sit up to be lost in vain. So yeah, please fire away.
Hi again. This may be a difficult question to answer, but will we see things like Thargoids or other nasty things when we go out into the unknown?
Well, it would be a tragic shame not to see them.
All right. Thank you.
They have been quiet for a while, but, you know, things change.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. And one final question before we wrap up.
Hiya. I know you're planning on expanding the game beyond the first release. If there was a sort of a single feature, a dream thing that you want to implement in Elite Dangerous, what would that be?
Well, I want all of them. I love the idea of exploring a planet with life on it. Where, I mean, the great thing with procedural generation is we in the team don't necessarily know what to expect because it's a sort of, there's an element of the way it comes up, even though it's essentially it's a tool for the artist, but the way you lay out, you know, the beauty you see when you see a particular bay with trees in it or whatever that you've never seen before, that has purely come out of the algorithms. I find that magical. I do like the idea of hunting for creatures on a distant world.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for your answers and for your brilliant presentation. And thank you all so much for coming along here and everyone who's watching on Twitch. We have Roll 7 next, who are going to be announcing a new game. If you do want to come to that, you have to go back in and then queue back to come back in again. But yeah, before then, if you could all please give a big warm round of applause to David Braben.
Thank you. And thank you to Eddie.